Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. I'm Hashim Ali Khan. So far, two problems we have completed on sequencing. Actually, sequencing is a technique in which we have n number of jobs to be processed on n number of machines. Example, 2 machines or 3 machines. What is the sequence in which we can be able to complete all the jobs in the minimum possible time or the minimum cost? So our objective is to minimize the time or minimize the cost. How to finish all the n number of jobs? So for that problem, already 2 problems we have solved. In this video, I'm going to start the third problem. The technique of finding out the optimum solution was given by Johnson and Bellman. So what is the technique? First, we have to find out what is the minimum processing time. Minimum processing time for which job on which machine. If the minimum time happens to be on first machine, assign the job from the left side, from the first cell. If the minimum time happens to be on the second machine, assign the job from the right. Like that, we have to go on. Already 2 problems we have solved in this video. Third problem I am going to explain. But before starting the problems, I expect my viewers to have a printout of the problems which I have given in the link under my description. Always keep ready the problem. Without having the problem, you cannot be able to understand the complete explanation. And before watching the problems video, I expect that every student have already watched the theory video. First 2 videos I have explained the complete part of what is sequencing problem. Be thorough on the theory, then only you can be able to understand the problems. In examination also very frequently they may ask the theory question also regarding what are the assumptions of sequencing problem, like that. So take the screenshot of the points which I have written on the board, then I'll explain every point in detail. Come on, see the problem number 3. A book binder has 1 printing press, 1 binding machine. So 2 machines they are having, first a printing machine and then binding machine. And manuscripts of 7 different books. That means 7 jobs we are having. 1 book, 1 job. So 7 jobs we have to complete on 2 machines, that is printing machine and binding machine. The sequence is first job should be done on printing machine. Once the job is completed on printing machine, the job will be transferred to binding machine. So every job has to pass through this sequence only. Then the time required for performing printing and binding operations for different books are shown below. So we are given how much time is required on printing and on binding. It is given in days. So first book, 20 days printing and 25 days binding. Second book, 90 days printing and 60 days binding. Like that for all the 7 jobs, printing time and binding time is given. The question is, decide the optimum sequence of processing of jobs in order to minimize the total time required to turn out all the books. That means we have to find out what is the optimum sequence. Which book should be done first and then which book should be done next. That order we have to find out. And after finding out the optimum sequence, we have to find out what the total elapsed time. Total elapsed time means the total time required to finish all the books. That means the time from beginning of the first book and the time ending of the last book. That is called the total elapsed time. What is the minimum total elapsed time and what is the ideal time? That's what we have to find out. First of all, 7 jobs are given, 7 books are given. Job 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the printing time and binding time is given in the problem. It is given vertically, but I have put it horizontally because it will be easier to compare and find out what is the minimum time. Now in this time estimated time, find out what is the minimum time. So I have put the asterisk mark here. 15 days is the minimum time. For which job? 6th book. On which machine? P. P stands for printing and B stands for binding. Or in other words, we can say P is the first machine and B is the second machine. So here for sixth job on first machine, minimum time is 15. So when the minimum time is on first machine, assign the job from the left. From the left means first cell. So this sixth job I am going to assign in the first cell. So here the smallest processing time is 15 hours for job number 6 on machine P. So we assign job 6 in the first cell. Sixth job in the first cell because it is on the first machine. Now the remaining processing times. Remove the job which is already assigned. Sixth job is already assigned. Remove that. Remaining jobs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 7. The same time estimates I am copying. Now find out what is the minimum processing time. The minimum processing time is 20 hours, but there is a tie. 20 hours is for book 1 on P machine, first machine. Again 20 hours for fourth book on P. That means there is a tie. 20 days is the time. Now both the 20 hours, both the 20 days are on first machine. First machine means we have to assign from the left. From the left. Already one book we have already assigned, sixth. Sixth book already we have assigned. The next two books are first book and fourth book. Both are on first machine only. So both first and fourth we assign from the left. After sixth. After sixth we assign 1 and then we assign 4. So here the minimum processing time is 20 hours for job 1 on P machine and also for job 4 on P machine. So first job and fourth job. Both job we have 20 hours on P machine. So there is a tie. So we'll take job 1 to the left after 6. After 6 we are taking 1. Then after again we take job 4 after job 1. So 3 jobs we have completed. Sixth job, first job and fourth job. The remaining processing times are 3 over 6, 1, 4. The remaining books are 2, 3, 5, 7. Again we note down the same times. Now you find out what is the minimum processing time. It is 50 days. For which book and which machine? It is for book number 7 and machine B. B machine means second machine. Now the minimum time happens on the second machine. So we assign from the right. So the 7th job we assign to the right side, last cell. Because it is on the second machine. The minimum processing time is 50 hours for job 7 on machine B. So we assign job 7 in the last cell. Right side. 7. How many still remaining jobs? 3 jobs are remaining. That is 2, 3 and 5. The processing times. We have taken the processing times. What is the minimum processing time? It is 60 hours, 60 days. So for which book? On which machine? It is for book number 2 and machine B, second machine. Second machine means again we have to assign from the right side, last cell, before job 7. Already 7th book we have already assigned. So before 7, second book I am assigning because it is on the second machine. The remaining processing times are only 2, 3 and 5. The processing times are 80, 75, 120, 90. What is the minimum? 70 days is the minimum processing time for book number 3 on machine B, second machine. Second machine means again we have to go for the right side. If first machine is there, we would have taken on the left side. Second machine, right side. So this book number 3, we assign to the right before book number 2. Before book number 2. So minimum time is 75 hours for job 3 on machine B. So we assign job 3 to the right before book job number 2. So now what will happen? Only one remaining cell will be there and one job is there. Which is the job? 5th job. And only one cell. So that remaining job in the remaining cell. And the remaining job in the remaining cell. So the optimum sequence will be 614. This is 614. This is 72. 72. So here third job we have assigned before 2 and remaining fifth job in the remaining cell. So optimum sequence will be 6, 1, 4, 5, 3, 2, 7. That means the first book to be completed is sixth book. After completing sixth book, we should go for the first book. After first book, fourth book. Like this in this sequence. If we follow this sequence, the total elapsed time will be minimum. That means if we do not follow this sequence, definitely the total time to turn up all the books will be more. But our objective is to find out the sequence in which shortest possible time, minimum elapsed time that we have to find out. The total minimum elapsed time and idle time of machines are calculated as follows. The first part is we have to find out the optimum sequence. We have found out. Now secondly, we have to find out the total elapsed time and the idle time for each machine. So here first column book number. This sequence will take 6, 1, 4, 5, 3, 2, 7. This book number. Then two broad columns. One broad column printing machine, another broad column binding machine. The sub columns will be in, out. That means when the work is started and when the work is ended. So in, printing machine, and then out. Binding machine, in, out. Last column will be idle time on binding machine. I'm not making the column for idle time on printing machine, because once the printing machine started, it will not stop in between until the last job has been completed. So in between we don't find any idle time for printing machine. Last book we may have some idle time that I'll discuss. But we have to find out what is the idle time for the second machine, that is binding machine. Right? So how to find out this time estimates? First book is book number 6. For book number 6, it will start at 0 time. 0 time means right now. Immediately we are starting. So 0 time in. So what is the processing time for printing machine on 6th job? For 6th job, printing machine. So here you can see 6th job, printing machine is 15 days. So it will start at 0 and end at 15. Because 15 is the processing time on printing machine for job number 6. Finished. Immediately, as soon as the first job is completed, at 15 days, the next job we have to start. Which is the next job here? First. The first job printing, what is the time? First job printing is 20 days. Now you add up, cumulative. So 15 plus 20, you will get 35. Next book is 4th book. We will start at 35. Because in between there is no stoppage. As soon as one book is completed, the next book will be started on printing machine. So as soon as 35 days completed, immediately 35 days, 4th book will start. 4th book printing, 20. 4th book printing is 20. So 35 plus 20, you will get 55. Again, it will start from 55. 5th book printing. So you can see 5th book printing is 120. So 55 plus 120, it is 175. From 175 it will start. 3rd book printing, 80. So 175 plus 80, 255. Now it will start at 255. 2nd book printing, 90. So 255 plus 90, 345. From 345 it will start. 7th book printing. 7th book printing is 50. So here 345 plus 50, 410. That's it. So it started the work at 0 hour and ended all the books at 410 days. Actually time is given in days. So 410 days. In between there is no stoppage, no idle time. Now we have to come to the binding machine. Actually binding work will start when the printing work is over. Only after completing printing work, binding work will start. So here first job was 6th book. It was started at 0 hour and ended at 15 days. So only after 15 days binding work will start. It will not start from 0. It will start from 15. So what is the sixth book time for binding? Sixth book binding, it is 35. Book number 6, binding 35. So 15 plus 35, you will get 50. Now you have to compare what is the out time 50 and what is the out time for next machine for printing 35. 35 or 50, whichever is higher, that you have to select. Be careful. The book was ended at 50 days, but here the book was completed at 35 days. That means whichever is higher, 50 days. So now we will start the next book at 50 days only. It cannot start at 35 days because the work is still going on from 15 days to 50 days. At 50 it will start. First book and binding. First book binding, 25 days. Now we add up. 50 plus 25, 75. Now you compare 75 or 55, whichever is higher. That will be the starting in time. So 75 is high. So here there is no idle time. Here see here, first 15 days, because the work was started at 0 hour on printing, but binding work was started at 15 days. That means first 15 days, the binding machine was idle. Because the first job should be done on printing. So till the time printing is over, the binding was idle. So first 15 days idle. Here at 50 days it was completed. Immediately at 50 days the next book was started. So there is no idle time. Here also 75 days completed. Immediately at 75 days the book was started. No idle time. Now 105. See here carefully. Fourth book binding. Fourth book binding is 30. Right? So 75 plus 30, you will get 105. Now you compare. At 105, the book was over. But it cannot start at 105 because here the fifth book was ended at 175. So actually work was completed on binding at 105 days. But immediately at 105 days it cannot start. Because the next book, fifth book was finished at 175 days. So 105 or 175, whichever is higher. 175 is higher. So it will start at 175. 175. What is the time for fifth job? Fifth job on binding. Fifth job on binding is 90. Right? So 175 plus 90 is 265. Now here the binding machine was idle because it has completed the work at 105 days. But next job it started at 175 days. So 175 minus 105, 70 days, the binding machine was idle. The binding machine was idle. Now 265. Now you compare 265 or 255, whichever is higher. The work was completed on fifth job for 265 days. But for third job it is completed at 255. At 255 it cannot start. It can start only higher, 265. So now at 265 it is started, right? Now what is the time for third job on binding? Third job binding 75. So 265 plus 75, 340. There is no idle time because at 265 when the previous job was completed, immediately at 265 next job was started. So there is no idle time. So 340. Now 340 or 345, whichever is higher. The work was completed at 340, but here the work is not completed at 340, it is completed at 345. So 5 days this binding machine has to wait, idle time. So here 345 it will start. Second job on binding machine. Second job binding machine 60. Add up 60. 345 plus 60. 405. So here actually the previous job was completed at 340 days, but the new job was started at 345. So 345 minus 340, 5 days is the idle time for binding. Right? Now 405. Now here 410. So you can see 405 the job was completed on binding, but the job is not ready from printing. printing the work goes up to 410. So now it will start at 410, not at 405. Not at 405, it will start at 410, whichever is higher, 405 or 410, whichever is higher. So 410 is higher. Seventh job binding is 50 days. So 410 plus 50 is 460. That means over all the, here from 405 to 410, 5 days is the idle time. That's all. Now we find out what is the total idle time on binding machine. 15 plus 70 plus 5 plus 5. 70, 80, 95. So total 95 days is the idle time for binding machine. And what is the total elapsed time? 460 days. First job was started at 0. All the jobs were completed at 460 days. So this 460 is called the total elapsed time. So total minimum elapsed time is 460 hours or days, whatever it may be. Idle time on printing machine. On printing machine it is 50 hours. How 50 hours? 460 is the total time. When the printing machine has completed its work at 410. At 410 all the jobs are completed on printing. But the binding work was completed at 460. So 460 minus 410, 50 hours. Now what is the total idle time on binding machine? 95 hours. That's all. So this is the third problem I have completed, each and every point. So if you want the perfect knowledge, watch the video 2-3 times. If you stop only at one time itself, it will not be sufficient. You cannot get the complete command and confidence on the problems. So I suggest you watch the video time to time again. Then only you can be able to become perfect on this topic of sequencing problems. Apart from that, I have uploaded so many subjects videos for MBAs like financial management, investment management, operation research, accounting for management, statistics for management. All these are the different subjects I have already uploaded on my YouTube channel. So visit the playlist. Select the subject which you want for MBA, BBA or BCom or MCom, CA Foundation, IGCSE. All these videos I have already uploaded. So watch all the videos, share my channel among your friends, among your groups so that more students can watch the video and enhance the knowledge. And subscribe my channel if you have not yet subscribed. Inshallah, we'll continue the next problem in the next video.